Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Live at 5 presentation at Carleton University, where we're going to be talking all about the co-op program. My name is Jaleel Alab, and I'm a recruitment officer here at Carleton University. I grew up here in the city of Ottawa, and I graduated from Carleton in 2019 with my degree being in biomedical and electrical engineering. And I loved Carleton so much that I'm now doing a second degree in Bachelor of Arts honors in religion. Now, being involved in recruitment, I've had the chance to speak to so many students throughout the year and learn more about where they're at with their different application processes. And some people are always wondering more about the co-op process. So today's presentation is definitely going to dive much more into that topic to know a bit more about our campus. And something else that's important about the Carleton campus is that we are located on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation here in the city of Ottawa. So moving into the topic of today's presentation, which I mentioned is the co-op program. It's something that so many people hear about. You might have like older siblings or probably have like family friends who went through the co-op process, and maybe, you know, people who are employed and like recently graduated, and they're telling you about going into the co-op program, and you may have heard different ideas about what it's all about. Basically, the co-op program allows students to have a platform to get real world experience and to have a chance for paid work while they're completing their studies in university throughout their various study and work sequences. Many of our programs do offer co-op placements, and students love to go into them and have a chance to learn a bit more about what their degree can entail for its future opportunities. And for today, we are so thankful to have some of our experts here along with us from the co-op department to explain to you some insider information about what this program is really all about. And so I am absolutely thrilled to have the chance to introduce to all of you Katie LeBlanc and Christopher Holton Bennett from the co-op department. Katie is the co-op manager, and Chris is a fourth-year psychology student. So I'll now just pass it over to Katie to share some words with all of you.
Hi, thank you so much, Jalil, for that introduction. Again, my name is Katie LeBlanc. I'm the manager of the Cooperative Education Program at Carleton. At Carleton, we have a cooperative education program that is managed centrally by one office. And I want to make it clear, today what we are able to talk about is the official cooperative education program. There are a few other internship, practica, and other work placement type programs available on campus with various departments. With co-op, it's what we're talking about today is specifically to the cooperative education program. So I just want to set the stage with that. And I also wanted to make sure you know that Chris Holton Bennett is a current co-op student. He's actually working with the co-op office. So when I asked him to join us today, he graciously accepted, and he'd be available to answer any questions that you might have more from the student perspective of what it's like to be part of the co-op program. So a lot of you probably accepted to Carleton with the co-op option. Some of you may not have been accepted with the co-op option. It's important to know that the co-op option is available in certain programs. They are usually they're all 4-year honors programs. So if you are planning on participating in co-op, you should have been accepted with the co-op option. But if you were not, all is not lost. There is another opportunity for you to apply to co-op after your first year grades are in and we're able to review them. So double check your documents to make sure that if you want to be in the co-op program, you either have the co-op option or you're planning to apply after first year. If you do have the co-op option on your acceptance letter, then you will automatically have your grades reviewed after your first year, and our office will reach out directly to you to say, yes, you qualify for co-op, or no, you might need to try and apply again at a later time. That eligibility is based partly on the number of credits that you've completed. You do need to have 5.0 credits, so that's 10 courses usually, completed by the end of your first year in order to be eligible to participate in co-op in second year. And you do need to meet the grade point average requirement for your program. So each program has a different set of requirements. Some programs have specific courses that you need to complete as well. So check the co-op website. I'm going to refer to the co-op website quite a lot. It's got a ton of information, and make sure that you know what your eligibility requirements are. Once you are accepted into the co-op program, your first step in co-op and your first participation in co-op usually happens in fall of second year. Again, check the co-op website. There are a few exceptions to that rule. And that involvement is being part of the Co-op 1000 preparatory course. Co-op 1000 is the course that every co-op student has to take and pass in order to continue in co-op, and it gives you all the tools that you need in order to be successful in the co-op job search and successful integrating into the workplace and working there as a co-op student. So it's a really important course. It's taken over and above your regular course load and is not an academic credit course, but it is required to continue in co-op. So that's Co-op 1000. As for what to expect throughout the co-op program, you can expect, if you complete the co-op requirements, to graduate with either 12 or 16 months of real work experience to put on your resume. So you will have graduated with a great resume that's very competitive and possibly more competitive than some of your peers who have not graduated with that co-op option. So a lot of our students do find it easier to find full-time employment after they graduate. So that's one of the benefits. While you're in the program, you can also expect to be either working full-time or studying full-time on an alternating basis. So you're always pretty busy as a co-op student. And the work experience that you're gaining is full-time paid work that's related to your degree. So we do have some requirements on the type of work that qualifies as a co-op term. In order to obtain your work term, you have access to a specific co-op job portal. And that job portal is populated with jobs specific to co-op students. And in order to ensure we have enough job opportunities for the students who are seeking, we have a team of 8 people who are out there building relationships with employers and bringing in job opportunities for our students. So that's one of the ways that our co-op program supports you in being successful as a student. You'll also, it's not something that should be overlooked, is when you graduate with co-op, you get work experience, but you also get really valuable experience actually looking for a job. So you'll come out having had experiences in job interviews, which can be very daunting and nerve-wracking. But if you've graduated with co-op, you've typically done at least a few job interviews, and you have that experience under your belt, so you're that much more confident when you graduate. You also, as a co-op student, have access to a team of co-op student advisors whose role it is to help you be successful in the job search and on the work term. So resume, cover letter reviews, mock interviews, those are all services that we offer, as well as a site visit that takes place during your work term to ensure that you're settling in well, that if you're experiencing any challenges, you have support from us in order to work through some of those challenges in the workplace. Couple of other housekeeping details to note. There are fees associated with co-op, so if you opt in, you're going to want to familiarize yourself with our fee schedule, which is on our website. And there also are no guarantees. There are no guarantees of a job. You have to be prepared to work hard to find a job and to build a really good resume and cover letter and to apply to many, many positions on any job search term. It's a competitive process. You're applying to jobs, interviewing, and hoping to be selected just like you would in the real world. So there's that real world job search experience that you're gaining. So that was all I wanted to say sort of as an introductory preamble about co-op. We can turn it over to questions anytime we have questions come in, Jalil.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that amazing introduction, Katie. That's really like setting the stage for making sure everyone has a common background and common basis to know a little bit more about the program. As everyone's kind of viewing us now on the live audience, we are running the live Q&A for you to submit any of your questions about the program to us, with our staff on standby to help answer them. And so we've noticed a few questions coming in right now. So I'm going to field some of them over to you, Katie, and then also to Chris. Some of these are kind of more open-ended, so we'll kind of start with those first. The first question that we have here, Katie, someone is asking, can I apply for co-op during my first year?
So we need to see your full roster of first year grades before we can review your application to co-op. So you can apply, but we won't review it until after your first year is complete.
Awesome, thank you. So going off into the next question, someone's asking if they have to do their co-op in Ottawa.
No, you don't. So that's one of the, that's a good point, that if you would like to work in another location, you certainly can. A lot of students who are coming from other cities would prefer to work in their home city, and that's fine. You can either complete a self-directed job search. So our team of co-op student advisors, as well as through Co-op 1000, you would learn how to do your own job search in a home location if you're not finding that we have jobs available on our portal that meet that requirement. We can also meet with you to sort of determine, if you have a certain location in mind, we can sit down with you and say, okay, if you're interested in, let's say, working in Montreal as an example, let's sit down and develop a strategy for you to apply to the jobs that you think are a good bet for you in the Montreal area, and we'll support you through that job search. But we have students working, I'd say, primarily in Ottawa. Probably 90% or more of our students are working in Ottawa. A lot of those are with the federal government, but also private sector is a huge employer for us too. I'd say second to that would be Toronto, and we also have students working out west, in smaller towns, in Montreal, Halifax, so there are opportunities elsewhere. International opportunities are a little harder to get, so if you're thinking of looking internationally, that's definitely something you want to get an early start on in terms of doing some research and networking and meeting with your co-op student advisor to develop a strategy for an international job search.
Awesome, thank you for that amazing answer. So the next question is kind of going to go over to Chris. So Chris, maybe just as the beginning, do you mind just giving us, kind of an overview about your experience with the co-op program and some of your background doing that? Because we have some questions coming in kind of asking like what the student experience is like to go and apply for this, these job positions and stuff like that. So if you could share a few words.
Yeah, for sure. So in the beginning, when I was applying to different positions, it was a little bit challenging to balance with my schoolwork, but I made sure to apply to as many positions as I could. And also to the co-op office is really there to help. So there were a few times where I was a bit nervous going into an interview, or I wasn't sure if my resume was good enough for different positions. So I reached out to my co-op student advisor, and I was able to get practice interviews that would help me really be practiced and confident for the different job positions.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that insight, Chris. And again, everyone who's viewing us right now on the live audience, we are so thankful to have a current co-op student here with Chris. So if you want to know more about their experiences, feel free to ask us in the live Q&A. Going off into some of the other questions that we have here, they're kind of, questions about the structure, about the co-op program. So Katie, we have a question here. Someone's asking if students do classes while they're in co-op.
So I think what you're asking probably is, are you doing classes while you're on a work term? And the answer is generally no. You're not intended or required to be studying while you're on a work term. You are permitted to take one half-credit course, so each course is usually a half credit, and it has to be offered outside of working hours. So typically our employers are expecting students to be available full-time, roughly 9 to 5 or generally accepted business hours. And so we need to put a limit on how many courses you can take while on a work term. So that limit is a 0.5 credit, and it has to be offered outside of working hours.
Amazing, thank you. So kind of like some students are wondering about where they can go and apply for these co-op positions. So we have a question asking if a student can work for a family business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a system called the self-directed job search system. And so if you find a job through a family business, and it can be, a family business that's connected to you personally, we would just need to review the job. We need a job description, we need an offer letter and some other details. And then we would contact the employer to sort of vet it as a possible co-op position. So we give you more information about what would be required, but absolutely family business, entrepreneurial ventures and startups where you do have to have a supervisor that is overseeing the work that you do and is able to evaluate your performance, review your work term report, and provide general guidance throughout the term. So there are some requirements that it has to meet, but yes, a family business would qualify assuming it meets all the other requirements.
Awesome, thank you. So another question's kind of asking about like the structure of co-op again. A student's asking like, what is the average pay per hour that co-op students typically receive?
Depends on the program that you're in. So again, I'll refer to our website. So if you want to Google Carleton Co-op Salary Survey, you'll see the latest data that we have on employer salaries for our co-op students by program. Depends on your level of experience, depends on the employer, but of course, minimum wage is an absolute minimum. Most of our students are making $15, $16 as a starting point, all the way up to about $32 would be the top end for the very in-demand programs, and that's an hourly wage.
Awesome, thank you. So we also have some more like specific related questions. So we have a question here asking, how long is the co-op program for aerospace engineering?
Aerospace, you would be doing 4 work terms. So you would be extending your degree by typically 2 terms for most engineering programs. I think I have that right. And so you can look at, again, the co-op website. You can search for co-op work study patterns, and you'll see each pattern outlined according to the program. You'll see exactly when you're intended to be working versus studying versus having optional work terms. So for engineering, you need 4 work terms to graduate with the co-op designation. I think that answers the question, but let me know if there's more detail required.
Yeah, that's an amazing answer, and perhaps some of our colleagues can maybe throw in. They've already thrown it in into the chat. So if anyone's wondering about that question, you do have the link for how the work study sequences are actually spread out for the different degrees. So you mentioned this point before, Katie, about the international experience, but maybe if we could like reiterate it again or touch on it again briefly. Someone's asking for the Bachelor of Global and International Studies programs. Do they offer co-op, or if not, because of the international experience?
So actually, that's one of our newest co-op programs starting this year. So we're going to start accepting students into the co-op option this fall. So yes, you will have the opportunity to do co-op work terms with the Begins program.
Perfect, amazing. So we have some questions coming in wondering about how like the program length is. So how many weeks typically is a work term? And then I guess maybe conversely, how much is a study term in terms of its length?
Yeah, so as you might know, the study terms are typically, your fall term is September through the end of December, your winter term is January through the end of April, your summer term is May through the end of August. So your study terms, your first year would be September to December, and then January to April. And then you have the summer usually free, and then you come back for your second year. You study full-time in the fall term, study full-time in the winter term, and for most programs, you're doing your first work term the summer after second year. Again, it varies depending on the program, but that's usually the case. And so each work term is a 4-month duration that coincides with that study term length. So it's typically, let's say the summer, your work term typically lasts from the first Monday in May to the last Friday in August. And same goes for the other work terms. So for the fall would be the first Monday in September through the last Friday in December, and first Monday in January through the last Friday in April would be your winter work term.
Perfect, thank you. Another question's coming in kind of asking about the fees. So they're asking what type of tuition do you pay when you're on co-op?
Yeah, so once you join the co-op program, you would start paying co-op fees. So there are no fees in first year. It's only when you're accepted to co-op and you're enrolled in Co-op 1000. So I'll try and explain it as clearly as I can, but if there are questions that come up after, please feel free to pipe up. So what we do is we charge each student 4 co-op participation admin fees, and those are normally, again, it varies by program, but normally charged in fall and winter of second year. And then in third year, fall and winter. Those are what we call the co-op participation admin fees. Then in addition to those 4 admin fees, you would pay a work term fee for every work term that you secure. Those fees right now, they increase a little each year, but right now they're at about $413 each. So let's say you're doing 3 work terms, you would be paying $413 times 4 admin fees plus $413 times 3 work term fees. So if that makes sense. It's all outlined pretty clearly on the website, but if there are more questions, feel free to ask.
Awesome, thank you. And no, there's so many questions coming in right now in the live Q&A. We absolutely appreciate everyone's participation. I want to have another question here for Chris. So Chris, since you're in psychology, someone is asking if you could be so kind as to explain where your co-op placements were. Someone is going into psych and they are psyched. That's what they're saying here in the chat. So.
I think you're muted, Chris.
Just muted for a bit there, Chris.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying I absolutely love that. So my co-op placements have actually been with the co-op office itself. So I've been helping them work with different teams in the office. But I've also seen other placements for psychology students working as like assistant therapists. I've also seen a lot of psychology students work in the human resources department, research positions. I once had an interview at Stats Canada. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of very different interesting positions, but all of my placements have been with the co-op office. And it's been a great experience.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. That's so insightful to have a current student's perspective. We absolutely appreciate that. So everyone, thanks again so much for your participation. We have so many other questions here right now, but for at this moment, we're just going to maybe wrap things up at the moment. So I want to again thank Katie and thank Chris for joining us for today's session. Thanks again, everyone, for coming here right now and being here with us. We're still going to be available for about like the next 10 minutes or so, just on the live Q&A. So we'll kind of be answering questions over on that area. But other than that, thanks again, everyone, for being here. We absolutely appreciate it. We hope Katie and Chris were definitely able to give you some more, insider information about what the co-op program is all about. If you have further questions and want to know more about our Live at 5 presentations, be sure to go to admissions@carleton.ca/live-at-5. You can again make an account and learn more about specific information for your programs of interest at Carleton 360, and be sure to follow us on our social media. The hashtag is Carleton Future. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. We absolutely hope to have the best of your studies in the future and hope to see you at Carleton. Thanks again so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.